Our next guest is a great friend, Doris Matsui, who is the ranking member and previously the chairwoman of the Communications and Technology Subcommittee of the Energy and Commerce Committee. She's been a tremendous bipartisan leader for the broadband policies and the broadband industry. And as we undertake the mission of connecting every American, I can't think of a better person to work with. Doris, thank you for coming again.
First of all, Chip is just a wonderful person, but he elevated me awfully soon here. I wasn't chairwoman before because I was never chairwoman yet. I'm ranking, and I'm still ranking, but that's also a hope I have to make sure I become chairwoman. You know how all that works. But anyway, I want to thank you all for being here today. I was listening to the previous discussion and hearing about the local challenges. And I'm from Sacramento, and I've got a huge urban area and also suburban, and also I have a large rural area that I got in the last redistricting, which has very little people, but farms, small ones, big ones, towns, hamlets, and everything else. So I know the challenges there. And I always believe that rural and urban have challenges, not the same kind, but still the lack of broadband that they really need. So anyway, I'm really glad to be here. And I'm here also because we're really at an inflection point as far as America's technological leadership. And I'm talking about all of this as you're talking about local level. I'm talking about at the national level as we work through all the policies that are really important for the local level, but also the policies that are important for us to keep our leadership in the world also. We want to make sure at our level to protect national security and really grow the U.S. economy, because that's really critical for all of us. And that's where we have to really continue to lead in communications and technology innovation. You know, for one thing, spectrum, and we think you've heard about that a lot. Spectrum is really the key for the engine of growth for wireless innovation. It really does support a broad range of technologies, from remote surgery to autonomous vehicles to Wi-Fi and broadband. We really need it. Our consumers, our businesses, and federal agencies all benefit when we maximize our spectrum use. This requires a comprehensive approach that balances licensed, unlicensed, and shared spectrum to drive innovation while also ensuring efficiency and security. And we need to be forward-looking by promoting technologies that will actually improve spectrum sharing and efficiency. Spectrum has always been a bipartisan issue in Congress. I'm hoping that it will remain so. We have to build upon our good work as a bipartisan manner to really ensure that there's a strong, balanced spectrum pipeline and that auction authority is restored to the FCC. But I'm concerned about talk about including spectrum auctions and reconciliation, because my colleagues across the aisle seek to use the proceeds to help pay for the administration's partisan priorities rather than investing in collaborative cross-party solutions that would close the digital divide and really protect national security and support public safety also, as we have historically done. Now, I fear this approach will undermine the bipartisanship on spectrum policy that we've maintained as long as I've been in Congress. Since 2010, I've been working at the forefront of every meaningful spectrum policy. I worked across the aisle with the Department of Defense to reallocate the AWS-3 auction, which generated $45 billion for the U.S. Treasury. I helped facilitate the C-band to auction. I also worked to promote the allocation of spectrum for unlicensed use. None of that would have happened without bipartisan cooperation, largely with my good friend, Chairman of the Committee, Guthrie, and the Spectrum Caucus. The U.S. needs a balanced approach for smart spectrum policy. Balance in the sense that we need to really make available more licensed spectrum for both and more unlicensed spectrum, while also ensuring the DoD and other critical federal agencies have the spectrum that they actually need. Last Congress, even amidst an auction authority lapse, the Biden administration answered my call for a unified spectrum plan by putting together the first comprehensive U.S. spectrum strategy in 6 years. This strategy offers a roadmap for securing U.S. leadership in spectrum innovation and ensures that the federal government speaks with one voice. This national spectrum strategy was a good first step as it brought together by mutual agreement, which is a rare achievement, NTIA, DoD, and other federal agencies to study specific bands. I really believe these studies will yield more spectrum access for all stakeholders, fueling American innovation, particularly in our competition with China. We should ensure that these studies can continue uninterrupted. We can't afford to throw out all this good work, not when the U.S. needs a unified spectrum position to advance our interests in international negotiations and rally other countries to our vision. If we fail to maintain our global leadership on spectrum, we create a vacuum that China and other foreign adversaries will readily exploit. I stand ready to work with my colleagues to restore the FCC's auction authority and create a pipeline that brings more licensed and unlicensed spectrum to the marketplace. Now, speaking about bringing products to consumers, I know many of you are hard at work, getting all America connected through building out broadband infrastructure from fiber to fixed wireless to satellite. We all recognize the necessity for reliable high-speed internet. It really drives economic growth, it supports education, it strengthens public health, and it connects us to our loved ones. Now, that's the conversation I was listening to as they came up. Now, that's why Congress made a once-in-a-lifetime investment to close the digital divide with the bipartisan infrastructure law. This includes over $42 billion in BEAD to bring tens of millions of Americans online with reliable, affordable, high-speed internet. Thanks to the NTIA, state leaders, and stakeholders in the last administration, we're nearly at the finish line. States like Louisiana are ready to put shovels in the ground in a matter of weeks, but only if this administration acts quickly to allow them to go ahead. Many other states are already busy running a competitive bidding process to ensure BEAD funding goes where it's needed the most. And as more states release the participation rates from their first application round, we've seen the success of our existing BEAD rules in ensuring robust interest from providers. So far, states like Arkansas, Wisconsin, and Virginia have received hundreds, if not thousands, of applications to serve over 90% of the eligible locations. Yet this administration is freezing funding and risking all of our states' well-earned progress. Just last week, Commerce Secretary Lutnick announced he is pausing and reviewing BEAD. Now, I'm really alarmed by this delay, and I'm alarmed that it's motivated by Republican desires to water down or outright eliminate protections for affordability, good-paying jobs, and weather-resistant networks. And already I'm even hearing from my constituents in Sacramento who worry that this would jeopardize our ability to connect all Californians, especially in our large rural areas. And as we discussed in our last week's broadband hearing, these changes could result in years of delay. And that's absolutely unacceptable. I don't believe anyone wants that at all. Our stakeholders have been preparing for the start of California's BEAD application process this month. And our communities are counting on this funding to really bring reliable internet to their homes. Yet now they face an uncertain future where they may once again be left behind. With this disruption to be, Congress must step up oversight to prevent delays, and to ensure that any rule changes are in the public interest. We must also ensure that BEAD dollars support the right mix of technologies to sustain connectivity for decades. This includes maintaining flexibility for states to work directly with local communities so that these services, whether fiber or alternative technologies, meet the demand for affordable and reliable service. For many areas, this is fiber. Fiber is a gold standard and future-proof technology that will grow with consumers' data needs over time. Granted, some remote areas may be better served using non-fiber alternatives from fixed wireless to satellites, but our existing BEAD guidance already recognizes this. So, forgive me, I'm a little suspicious of the administration's focus on freezing BEAD in the name of bringing so-called technology-neutral rules. We all have a stake in ensuring BEAD rules are applied fairly. That's why Congress must exercise oversight to prevent conflicts of interest in how this administration runs the program. This includes making sure any rule changes are not just excuses to bypass service and reliability requirements to funnel money to this administration's predetermined winners. We need smart broadband investments that will last, not short-term fixes that will cost taxpayers more in the long run. Congress was thoughtful and bipartisan when hammering out the details of BEAD, and I hope we can continue that bipartisanship as we provide oversight into BEAD and our broadband programs. Now, I urge my Republican colleagues to work with us to fully implement all federal broadband programs, including BEAD. Otherwise, we could be watching this once-in-a-generation investment go to waste. Since the 119th Congress began, my colleagues and I have had hearings on the FCC's Spectrum Auction Authority and broadband deployment. These are tough issues we need to tackle to keep America at the forefront of global momentum. Clearly, there's a lot of work to do, but I'm optimistic. I know each of you understand how important this is, and you bring your deep experience to support the U.S. in maintaining its technological leadership. And as you meet with other members, share how your companies can really promote a healthy spectrum ecosystem, one that fosters economic growth, enhances security, and builds private-public partnerships. On broadband, members must also understand how changes or delays in BEAD will affect their community's opportunities to fully benefit from connectivity. Now, I look forward to working with everyone here. As I said before, this space has always been bipartisan. This is supposed to enhance this whole nation, every nook and cranny of this nation. And we can only do that in a bipartisan basis. I work with a lot of my colleagues in the rural communities. As I said before, this is a success when the rural communities get fast internet, because that's what they need in their communities, as also the urban areas too. This is a place we can work together. And I will look forward to working with all of you when we proceed with the next steps that we need to do here. So thank you very much for allowing me to speak here before you. And I look forward very much to working with you, and good luck.